What's up, Pirates? Wraith and Jim here with AwakenedTCG, and today we're back with a brand new video. So this is going to be our third episode of this series where we go over all the OP06 cards that just released and we can finally see them. Obviously, we've already said there's no alt art, so we can't look at those yet, but we will definitely be looking at them in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what blue brings.
So our only blue leader this set is going to be Vinsmoke Reiju, with bringing the Germa 66 archetype to the game. And it is going to be a 5,000 power and 4 life leader with blue and purple. And it's going to be during your turn, once per turn, when Dawn on your field is returned to the Dawn deck. So any Dawn minus effects. This is just going to draw you a card once per turn. Fantastic, like really like standard, like not crazy effect, but totally gonna be very strong.
Yeah, because I mean, potentially we're talking about getting 2 draws per turn, and then since it's purple, you can run the 5-cost kid, which when you remove a Dawn, you ramp a Dawn, and so basically would negate minus Dawn and then allow you to draw 1 extra card every turn. So could definitely, you know, get some good hand size for sure. So we're gonna have to see what kind of lists brew and figure out if this leader is as strong as people say.
This leader might begin to rival Whitebeard hand sizes, which I think would be hilarious, but there is a card here that we're going to look at in a few cards down that might keep it from wanting to do that. But let's go here to our first blue SR. It is going to be Aramaki, the new Admiral. He is a 8 cost, 8,000 power with no counter. The kid stat line, and he is going to be a blocker. This is the largest blocker in the entire game to date. We've only had blockers up to 7k at this point. This one, the first 8k blocker in the game. And its other effect is going to be activate main once per turn. You can discard a card from your hand, and then bottom deck one of your opponents costs 2 or less characters, and then also, this character is going to get 3,000 power after that. So, a repeatable bottom deck effect every turn, especially in Sakazuki, which can reduce costs, seems very strong. And then it gets 3,000 power just because. Yeah, it is a blocker, so I don't know. I mean, it'll depend on the turn, right? If you're not scared to die next turn, you'll swing 11k, and that's really strong. And then it can flex other turns where you're like, okay, I need a blocker. You'll leave it up, and you'll have an 8k blocker.
Yeah, I mean, really strong. I'm not sure if that plus 3,000 power is necessary, but obviously it's the SR, so you know, let's make it strong, right? And strong it is. Like you said, with Sakazuki, being able to combo off of it would be pretty amazing. It has its own built-in Hound Blaze. Which is ridiculous, right? Blue definitely got some great cards, and this is one of them.
Yep. If you do not know, it's a lot of Navy support that is going to make Sakazuki even better because, as we know, Sakazuki needed more support. Next up, we've got Gian. Is a 4-cost, 5,000 power with 2,000 counter Navy type card, and its effect is going to be during your turn, once per turn. Whenever your opponent activates event, you can put 1 card from their hand at the bottom of the deck. So very interesting card. It is a 2k, right? So you're basically not always playing this onto the board, but when you do, if you're playing against a deck like, I guess Nami plays a lot of events, green purple Doflamingo, if that's still around, this card is going to make them immediately get rid of another card if they dare use an event. Very interesting. I mean, it's also a searchable Navy 2k, so
yeah, I think it's a great card. I think it allows you to flex it into decks because of that 2k, which is going to make it so strong. And then if there's ever a situation where you need to play it and you have it, I mean, that's even better, right?
Sure, yeah. If you're going against a matchup where this card is good, you can just play it. If not, it's a 2k in your hand. No downsides there.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Kuzan. Kuzan is a 3-cost, 5k with no counter. And it's going to be on play. You can draw 2 cards and then place 2 cards from your hand at the bottom of the deck. So a 2-card cycle, not putting any into the trash. These Navy cards are kind of leaning away from that cards and trash archetype that blue-black Sakazuki likes. But I don't know, not great. I don't love this card.
Yeah, I mean, your Sakazuki, you already have a built-in cycle. So playing this and cycling 2 cards, I mean, it can help, but I'm not sure if it's, decks like Sakazuki are very hesitant when it comes to being able to add or subtract stuff to the deck. So a card like this, you probably wouldn't see in a deck like that. But yeah, I mean, it's a 3/5 vanilla, no counter. And the effect's okay, right? So we'll see.
We'll see. I don't see it being played, but let's get into another Sakazuki himself. Back when he was a menace in Ohara, it is a 5-cost, 6,000 power with no counter with the Navy archetype, and it's going to be on play. You can put up to 1 character with a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. So 5/6 no counter, that bottom deck's a 2. Seems okay. Obviously, this is not going to be good in any blue only deck. You're going to need black to make this work. But I think it's okay. You don't have to trash a card or anything. You just need to have that minus cost.
Yeah, I mean, for blue, mono blue leaders seems kind of bad. For Sakazuki would seem okay, but you already have Lucci, right? So it's like, I'm not sure why you would ever run this over that.
Exactly. Yeah. Lucci has the 6k stat line at 4, and it KOs a 2 and a 1. So very not as good as I'd say, but who knows? Maybe there'll be a new deck to place this. Next up, we've got Charlotte Pudding in blue this time, not in yellow. It is going to be a 4-cost, 4,000 power with 1,000 counter, and on play, your opponent is going to return every card from their hand to the deck, shuffle their deck, and then they draw 5 cards. So like I was saying prior, any deck that likes big hands, you lose the game. Whitebeard, this card says, yeah, Whitebeard's not a deck, you lose. This is going to make you scared to ever have any more than 5 cards in your hand when you're playing against blue. This is not leader locked. This is not locked to anything. This is just going to be a tech card that I guarantee you basically every blue deck is going to add 1 or 2 of into their deck.
Yeah, I mean, super strong, like we said, right? So the leader could potentially draw with the effect Raiju, but a card like this is just going to negate any progress you had when it comes to having extra cards than your opponent and working on, oh, I have more resources than my opponent. This is just going to negate anything you try to do. And yeah, it seems like a really strong card, and this card is definitely going to see some play. I'll tell you what.
Basically, I think it's Judge from Pokemon. If you play Pokemon, just kind of return all cards and draw 4. Really gross. Next up, we've got Zeff, breathing life back into Nami. Let's go. Zeff is a 3-cost, 3,000 power with 1,000 counter, and it is going to be on your turn. Whenever your opponent activates a blocker, if your leader has East Blue type, you can put the top 4 cards of your deck into your trash. So if you're running like character version Nami, that deck hates blockers. Because if you swing big with Zeff or like Belmare, those are the only way that they're going to be able to not let it hit face. This deck says, even if you do decide to use blocker, I'm still trashing 4 from my deck.
Which is a win-win.
Exactly. Obviously, it's 3 less, but still good. In character version of Nami, I could see this being ran, but I don't really know if character version of Nami will be ran ever again, especially now that Sakazuki removes characters on board as easy as eating candy. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I mean, good card, but obviously in the current meta as we know it, it's definitely not going to be a good card to play into a Nami, because obviously you would have to run this in a character version, and that's just not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, so not going to work until Black Blue Sakazuki, or honestly any deck with removal disappears from the game. But definitely breathing life back in the archetype, which you always love to see. Next up, we've got Sengoku, a Navy 5/7 vanilla. 5/7 vanilla, probably didn't need it. But if you need it, you can play it. Next up, we've got Tishigi. A card which I don't know why they printed, but let's go over the effect. It's going to be a 1-cost, 2,000 power with 1,000 counter and the Navy archetype. And on play, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Navy type card other than Tishigi, and then put the rest at the bottom of the deck. So, a 1-drop searcher for Navy, because why not?
They didn't already have one, correct?
No, they did not. They had Brand New, which is in black, and it searches top 3 and trashes 2.
So blue didn't have a navy search, but
Correct.
Sakazuki did. So now you can have 8 searches for navy in Sakazuki, if I'm hearing this correct.
Yeah. Oh god, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, this is gonna be a problem, guys. I apologize right now for OP06. Sakazuki's gonna get banned, guys. I'm sorry. Let's next card.
I wouldn't be surprised. Next up, we've got Sudo. This is Suru when she was probably 20 or so. Definitely a baddie, certified. She is a 5 cost, 4,000 power, 2k. And on play, you can discard 2 from your hand, and your opponent is going to return you can return any of your opponent's characters to the hand. So another searchable 2k with an effect that can actually be usable. Obviously, you do have to discard 2, but this can send any character back to hand. Sakazuki can basically do this, and instead of sending back to hand, just KO it or bottom deck it. So I don't know if you're playing this card, but in like a crocodile or something, maybe you play this. It's a great removal.
Yeah, 100%. I think it could definitely see some. It can see a place in other decks. Definitely not Sakazuki, because Sakazuki, for the most part, your 2Ks you want to run are cost minus effects, just to combo better. But yeah, for sure, it's decent. It's a good 2K. I can see it in some decks for sure.
No doubt about that. Next up, we've got Tokake. Is a 2 cost, 3,000 power with 1,000 counter. Another navy character. More support for that. It is going to be Dawn X1. If you have 4 or less cards in your hand, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. This card is ass. This card is ass.
Yeah, this card is very bad. I mean, it's a common. We'll give it a pass. It's just like a filler card, in my opinion.
I mean, you attach a Dawn, you're swinging 4. You can't even swing at leader. This Dawn needs 2 to swing at leader anyway, and I don't even know if they care about KOing it, but great. They can't swing at it. But hey, Sakazuki's just going to play Rob Lucci. But anyways, let's get up to our next card. It is Saul himself, back when he was actually in the Navy. He is a 2 cost, 3,000 power character with a 1,000 counter, and his effect is going to be on KO. You can put one of your opponent's cost 2 or less characters at the bottom of its owner's deck.
Trash.
Yeah, pretty trash. Obviously, we only care about these effects when you can minus the cost of characters, and until they add like a weird counter event that like minuses 5 or something, this card will never see play because it is only putting cost 2 or less characters at the bottom on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, but even then, if there was ever an event like that and you're, for some reason, he's rested, your opponent's not going to swing and give you a free kill. So
sure, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a bad card. Another bad one.
Yeah, definitely terrible. Because on KO effects, your opponent can kind of control when they get to activate them. Next up, we've got Borsalino. Borsalino is a 2/4 with no counter. Very interesting stat line. And it's going to be, if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, it's going to be a blocker. So a 2/4 with no counter, that gets blocker conditionally.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, terrible. If you want a 2-cost blocker, play the 2/2s that have counter. There's no reason you're going to need 2k more, because when you use cheap blockers like this, they're usually to counter out of big attacks. So
and the only reason you can give this card the benefit of the doubt is from the perspective, if you play it in red, the Marco can't KO it.
Sure.
You can't, Vista it. These cheap ways to get rid of 3,000 or less power blockers is negated, but that's only one color, and the majority of the meta is definitely shying away from red. So, this card's 1 out of 5. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's pretty trash. Next up, we've got Monkey D. Garp with his grandson's effect. He's going to be a 5/7 instead of a 5/6 with no counter, and it's going to be Dawn X2 when attacking. If you have 4 or fewer cards in your hand, your opponent cannot use blocker during this battle. So Dawn times 2, you're swinging for 9, unblockable. Interesting card, I think. Blue did not need this. Honestly, because you play this for 5, it's just going to get like 3,000 worlds or something. I don't think this effect's ever going to go off, and I just don't think it does what blue is looking to do. Like, maybe you play this in red, but even then, I don't know if it would be that great.
Yeah, definitely a weird card to print for blue, where the archetypes are kind of more set towards control and just having a slower pace compared to something like red or green, where they're a lot faster paced, and so definitely weird. I mean, but like at the end of the day, you never know, right? This could definitely win you a match, right? In certain situations.
Yeah, random, unexpected, weird tech card, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have rush, so it's not going to surprise them. They know it's on board, and then you pass to them. Like, I don't know. I don't see this card being good. Next up, we've got 10 Muraco Sword. It is going to be a 2-cost event, and its effect is going to be during main. You can place up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less, and one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less at the bottom of their deck. Oh my god, this card is absolutely gross. Rob Lucci on a 2-cost, and their bottom decks instead of KOs. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, this card is going to shoot Sakazuki over the edge, and I honestly could see the deck getting banned.
Yeah. Oh, you can search it, by the way, with 8 cards in your deck.
Yeah. My god, this is going to be a problem. Let's get away from that thing. Next up, we have Never Doubt a Woman's Tears, quoted by Sanji himself. This is going to be a 1-cost main event that says you can give one of your leader or characters 1,000 power during this turn. And then after that, you can look at the top card of your deck and play up to 1 cost 2 character card, and then put the rest at the bottom. So in your weird Sanji Zoro starter deck archetype, you'll probably run in this card. It's a 1, play a 2 from the deck, so you don't even have to play it from hand. Seems okay, and then the trigger is play up to 1 2-cost character from your hand.
Yeah. Seems decent. I don't really like it though.
No, I mean, for that specific archetype, Zoro Sanji, I guess it could be good, but I don't even think that deck is performing at all anyway, so.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely a bad card for a bad leader. Getting to good cards, though. We have Gravity Sword Fierce Tiger. That is definitely not the right translation, but I'm not going to look it up. It is a 7-cost main event. Again, Navy searchable. And its effect is going to be place up to 2 characters with a cost of 6 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Wow. So basically, in Sakazuki, this card says bottom deck any 2 characters in the entire game.
Yeah, there's no way around it. I mean, your Sakazuki at, let's say you're at 10 Dawn, you have 3 Dawn to work with, and your leader effect. So one of them is already a 7-cost to start.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many cards you can just let me -3, -4. I'll go ahead and bottom deck your 2 9-drops and all your 6 and belows. Oh wait, no, it's just 2.
Yeah, it's just 2.
Yeah, just 2 characters. Let me go ahead and bottom deck both your 10 drops because I'm just Sakazuki.
Yeah, definitely a card that the deck did not need, but a card it is going to use. It is, to be fair, it's very expensive. But, obviously, if you see this in your opener, you're probably just putting it in the trash. You don't really care, and then you'll find it. Yeah, you'll find another one down the line. This card is a problem. Kind of this whole archetype leaning more towards getting rid of stuff with events is going to be interesting. Less about the trash. We'll see. These decks are going to definitely change up a bit.
Yeah, and then obviously a great trigger.
Oh yeah, place one of your characters that costs 5 or less at the bottom of the deck. I think that is the biggest bottom deck trigger in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
And I don't think we needed that.
Nope. This card could have had 3 or less at the bottom of the deck, even 4. But no, for some reason, we're giving it 5.
5.
Next up, we've got White Snake, one of Smoker's attacks. It is going to be a 2-cost counter event. You can give up to one of your leaders or characters 1,000 power and draw 1 card. So, for 2, you're countering 1k, which is pretty trash. Usually your 2-cost events are going to be plus 4k, but it is a draw. Mm-hmm. So, not terrible. I don't know. Sakazuki does need draw effects. They're even running those 3-cost 4k Hinas to draw now. I've seen in the topping deck list. So, maybe it would like this card, although I don't know if it runs counter events like that. So, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like Sakazuki on counter events to start. You already have so much pressure on board. I feel like just sticking to what the deck is good on is best, which is like, you know, your Hound Blazes. Now even more events where you can KO and bottom deck your opponent's characters. So it's gonna be interesting. I don't know if we're gonna run a card like this, but it could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. And let's get off Sakazuki and other blue decks like Nami or Crocodile. Like in Nami, I could see you playing this, but obviously in Sakazuki, which is the deck I think it's kind of trying to be made for, I don't think you're playing it.
Yeah, let's be honest. We're only talking about Raiju or Sakazuki here. I don't see any other blue decks doing so well in OP06.
Exactly. Next up, we've got our last secret rare of the set. It is going to be the counterpart to Zoro. It's going to be Sanji with his Ifrit the Jambu. He is a blue character with a 9 cost and 9,000 power, no counter. And on play, he's going to reveal the top card of your deck. And then he can play that card if it is a cost 9 or less character that is not Sanji. And then if it is not, you're going to have to put that card at the bottom of your deck. So if you're running this card, you're definitely running the Peronas or the 3-cost Blocker Doflamingos to make sure that top card of your deck is a card you want to play out. I think this card is going to be fantastic in Queen. You can, say, play a 3-cost Dofi the turn before, and then you know the top card of your deck is going to be a Yamato. You play this, you get a 9, you get another 9, heal with Yamato, use leader effect. Oh god, this is going to be great in Queen.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those other cards, like you said, the counterpart to Zoro is when we say power creep, these are the kind of cards we're talking about. This card just feels like it's going to be so good, way too good.
It obviously, it is from the top of the deck. If it was from hand, it would be busted, but it is kind of locked behind these organizing the top of your deck cards. But there's a ton of those now. We get X-Drake and OP05. It shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah. Luckily, blue has a lot of options for that.
For sure.
All right, Pirates, thank you guys so much for sticking to the end of the video. We just went over all of the blue cards, and there is some pretty strong cards. This game is slowly starting to ramp up as far as power creep goes, but hopefully it doesn't, push too much over the edge so fast. And so hopefully we can continue having great tournament results, good metas. And yeah, I mean, we're on to the next colors for the next episode. Make sure to like this video, comment down below what you think about the blue cards and what you think about this Sanji, honestly. Subscribe to our channel because 70% of you guys who watch our videos are not subscribed. We're still under 30% of you that are watching our content that are subscribed. So if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We drop daily content, guys. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.